Welcome back, everyone. This is GTA Failure. In the last video, I explained the basics of Taxi Driver and showed off some glitches. And in this video, we're going to actually attempt to complete Taxi Driver. So remember, the goal is to get 100 taxi drop-offs in total. You don't need to do them consecutively. You don't need to do them on various islands, just 100 at any point on any combination of the islands. So my plan is to try to do 100 consecutively. That's the plussing that we're trying for in this video series. And I'll do 33 on this island, 33 on Staunton, and 34 on Shoreside. So I mentioned this glitch, which allows you to do taxi in any vehicle you want. So right now I got into the taxi. I'm holding numlock and caps lock, which is the mission start and look backwards button. Then I got out of the taxi and carefully walked backwards over to this vehicle. And then once I was in this vehicle, I released both of those buttons, and now we're doing taxi in a Banshee. And so I'm playing this now at double speed, just because you don't need to sit there watching me do taxi for an hour and a half. But anyway, taxi on Portland is, I find it to be quite straightforward. When I speedrun this game, I do all 100 taxi drop-offs in Portland. I don't do any on Staunton or on Shoreside Vale. I find the destinations here to be very close to each other, closer than some of the destinations in Staunton and especially in Shoreside Vale, where I've complained many times about the disconnected nature of that map. So when I'm speedrunning this game, what I do is reject this destination right here, this Greasy Joe's in Callahan Point. I also reject the import-export garage because they're quite far from most of the other destinations. And so if somebody gets into my taxi and they ask for one of those two destinations, I just hit the mission end button and then hit the mission start button and get another passenger until I get something that's close by. So basically just everywhere except for those two destinations. And while I'm on this main road, this kind of 4-lane road that we were just on here, and its extension to the north through the Bribe Star Alley, I'm looking for 4 specific vehicles that are kind of rare-ish and required for the import-export garage. Those are the school bus, which is just called bus, and the secure car, and the trash master, and the flatbed. And so whenever I see one of those things, I abandon my fare and end the taxi mission at that time, and then go grab that rare-ish vehicle and drive it back to the import-export garage. And so doing 100, and then I just get back into taxi, and I just keep doing taxi. And during taxi, I get all 4 of those quite consistently, usually pretty quickly, actually. And then I wrap up and finish the rest of the 100 taxi drops during that speed run. And it's pretty consistent. It takes about an hour, 10 minutes to do both the 100 taxi drop offs and the 4 rare-ish vehicles and bringing them to the import-export garage. If I didn't do the import-exporting during the taxi, maybe it would take like, I don't know, like 5 minutes less. I mean, it doesn't take all that long to make those trips to the import-export garage. So an hour, 10 minutes, including a little bit of extra stuff. That's my standard. In terms of how I feel about taxi, I don't know, it's fine. Some people complain, they say it's too long. Like, it's certainly not difficult. You can destroy your taxi, you can exit your taxi, you can take your taxi to pay and spray, and you don't have to do these things continuously or consecutively, I should say. So here's my trip to the pay and spray. Don't have to do them consecutively. You can break the taxi up any way you want to on any of the islands and at any point during the game. For sure, you want to do taxi before the gangs are mad at you, but other than that, I find it to be pretty straightforward. Typically, I'll put on a podcast at the start of taxi and then just listen to my podcast and kind of get into a meditative state as I run around Portland Island dropping people off. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some information from the wiki. So this is me reading from the wiki now. Taxi Driver refers to a long-running series of taxi-based side missions and minigames in the Grand Theft Auto series. So it seems like every game in the GTA universe has Taxi Driver, except for the original, like the GTA 1 game. So this mission is called straight up Taxi Driver, like Taxi Driver, just those 2 words, is the name of the mission in GTA 2 and 3 and Vice City and San Andreas and Advance and Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories and Chinatown Wars. In some of the other games, there's a slightly different name. So in GTA 4, this mission is called Roman's Taxi Driver. In GTA 5, it's called Taxi Jobs. And in GTA Online, it's called Taxi Work. But it's like all basically the same idea. You pick folks up, drop them off, and just rinse and repeat. One thing I can say is that as I mentioned, I find Taxi Driver to be kind of meditative, and it's not hard. It's not the most exciting thing in GTA 3, but I don't mind it. But then I played Vice City after I got into GTA 3, and I found Taxi Driver in Vice City to be really obnoxious. It was just so long. It took like an hour 40, and I didn't do any of the import exporting stuff, so it was pure an hour 40. So like a good 30 minutes longer plus the time I spend on import export in GTA 3 during Taxi Driver. And it was just like the destinations were so far away. I think I did it on the western island, and so like it would say, okay, drop them off in the hospital in the far north. So I'd drop them off there, and then it would say, okay, now go to the shipyard in the far south, and it would just be like a minute plus of just driving down this same road, just straight north, straight south on the main road, and it was just too much. Like if they had put 50 destinations instead of 100, like that would have been all right, but 100, like I just didn't want to spend an hour 40 in a like an 11-hour speed run, and like an hour 40 doing that one boring task just felt like too much. And so this is one of the reasons that I surprisingly prefer GTA 3 to GTA 4, is that GTA 4 I find Taxi Driver to be obnoxiously long and boring, whereas in GTA 3 I don't mind it. Like I don't love it, but I don't mind it. Okay, so we did mention the kind of fail states of taxi, but it's sort of a misnomer to call it a fail state because you can't fail taxi. You can only end taxi and then restart it at some later time, like a second later if you want. But of course, if you die because your vehicle explodes, then taxi driver ends, and if you get busted, then taxi driver ends. Uh, if your cabbie is destroyed, then taxi driver ends. But I don't. I mean, okay, one more thing. If you get out of your taxi at any point, then taxi driver ends. There's no grace period at all. But then to say that your cabbie being destroyed is a mission fail state, I guess. But I mean, like as soon as if your taxi's on fire and you get out, then the mission ends because you got out before the taxi got destroyed. And if you stay in the car as it's on fire and then the car explodes, actually, I'm not even sure what the fail message is. I'm assuming it's that you died as opposed to you failed taxi because your vehicle is destroyed. Okay, so let's now talk a little bit more about taxi driver here in GTA 3. So of course you get money, and the money is essentially just based on how far away the destination is from where you pick up the passenger. Um, but also you get like a speed bonus if you get to the destination within a certain amount of time. I didn't really research, kind of wish that I had now. I didn't really research like how the money is calculated and how the speed bonus is calculated. But even if I look this stuff up, I don't know, is it out there? Like that seems like a very specific thing, and you'd kind of have to get into the heart of the actual code of the game to really get a good sense of that, because I think that it'd be quite difficult to figure out the cash formula and the speed bonus formula just from collecting a lot of data by doing a ton of taxi and recording the results. In any event, you get money, which is cool. And then there's also these bonuses that you've seen, like the 5 in a row bonuses. So like every five, if you drop off a fifth person in a row, you get a bonus cash thing, and then on your 10th one you get a bonus, and on your 15th and your 20th. So I guess my next one is coming up on my 30th. I'll try to pay attention and see if we can figure out what the bonus is every 5,000, because I didn't write it down. You won't be surprised that I didn't want to look at like my hour-and-a-half taxi video ahead of time, given that I was going to watch it with you here. But it is nice that it's in double speed, so that's cool. After you drop off the passenger, you get like a 10-second bonus in theory. So you could just see 10 seconds added to my clock there. So in theory, you have time to go get your next passenger. In the non 3D universe games, it's actually a 30-second bonus as opposed to just 10. One thing I didn't realize is that when you start the mission, the lights on your taxi's roof light up, which I didn't notice. Okay, we just got 12 grand for 30 in a row. I don't know, can I just divide? Is it like 4,000 for every, I don't know what I'm doing here. 1,200 divided by 3 is 400. Yeah, I don't know. So like maybe the next one, it's great for you to like listen to me struggle to do math live on video, right? So like could the next one be 16,000? That makes sense. We'll see if that's what it is at 35. I don't know. Need more data. But anyway, $12,000 bonus, but definitely I would not choose taxi as an early way to generate cash if you need cash in the beginning. I think that firefighter seems to be my kind of preferred way to do that. Low risk, quite easy, and the longer you can manage to do it, the bigger those bonuses get for doing every 5 or 10. Okay, so as I mentioned, my intention is to try to do 100 in a row, and so the only way that I know to do that is to cheat, is to use the flying cars cheat code. So you're going to see me hit escape and get to the menu here in a sec. And actually, I was nervous because the menu flashed off, so then I'm much lower on the bridge, and I was really worried as I was doing that trip that I wasn't going to make it. And if I fell in the water, then I'd have to start over and begin taxi again. So here we are with a like a 2 minute 40 second time cushion built up, which is kind of nice to have. And going to just stay here on Staunton until we have completed a total of 66 fares. So that's the goal. Okay, sorry for the delay there. It looked like I was going to be interrupted, so I paused everything. I hope that the sound is still synced in the game. We shall see. Okay, coming back to the wiki, let's read a little bit more. Let's read about the destinations. So first I'll list for you the 10 destinations that you saw in Portland. You saw all 10 for sure. So in the red light district, you've got a few. There's the Meowch Sex Kitten Club and Ammunition and Woody's Topless Bar. In Portland View, there's the Super Save. In Portland Harbor, there's the Import-Export Garage. In Chinatown, there's Old School Hall as well as Punk Noodles. In Callahan Point, you'll find Greasy Joe's Cafe. And in St. Mark's, there's Easy Credit Autos and Marco's Bistro. So I think we read all 10 there. And now here on Staunton, we've got 3, 6, 9, also 10. Who knew? Okay, so here I am just spraying my car, trying to keep it nice and healthy. One thing that I wish I would have done differently, like if I had to do this over again, is to not spray my car as aggressively as I was. I think I kind of forgot that if you damage your car sufficiently, the passengers will refuse to get in, and the one that's in the vehicle get out and say, the passenger flees in terror. And so that's like an early warning that's like, all right, your car hasn't exploded yet, but it's close enough that you need to go take it to a paint spray. So I kind of wish I would have waited until I got that warning before I went to the paint spray. I think I was still, kind of traumatized from my experiences with paramedic and trying to keep that ambulance healthy for 12 levels on Shoreside Vale. And so I drove kind of like less aggressively than I maybe could have here doing taxi, and I also went to the pay and spray maybe a little bit more frequently than I needed to. Live and learn. Okay, so here are the destinations on Staunton Island, some of which you've seen so far and some of which you'll see in the rest of this video. So in Fort Staunton, there's the construction site. In Espatria, there's the football stadium. In Bedford Point, there's the church and Bolt Burgers. Torrington is home of the casino and the museum and the AMCO building. Liberty Campus is where you'll find Liberty University. And then finally, Belleville Park is the shopping mall and the park. So I think that's all 10 destinations in Staunton. And you're going to see Shoreside in the next video, but let me just list the 6 destinations in Shoreside. So Francis International Airport is one. In Cochrane Dam, there's something that's called Cochrane Dam, but there's also the Import-Export Garage, which is in Cochrane Dam, that area of the map. Pike Creek has the hospital, and Wichita Gardens has both the park and the Northwest Towers. So just 6 destinations there in Shoreside Vale. We talked about money in terms of rewards. There's also a special reward you get when you complete your 100th drop off. And so I'll show that in the next video once I get to 100. And if you're playing on the PS4, you will get something called the Silver Trophy. Wait, unlocks the Silver Trophy called Where To? Question mark when you do your 100th fair on the PS4. I did experiment when I was learning to speedrun this game. I experimented with trying to figure out where should I do my taxi drop-offs? Like, should I do 100 on Portland, which is settled on, or 100 here, or 100 at Shoreside, or some combination like 50 here, 50 there? So I settled on Portland for a couple of reasons. Number one, like I mentioned, I think the destinations are closer to each other, and so that just makes it take less time, which is essentially the ultimate goal for a speedrunner. Excuse me. But I also liked doing this on Portland because it allowed me to very easily and consistently find those 4 rarish vehicles that I mentioned that I grab during Taxi Driver and take to the import-export garage on Portland. So it felt like I was being like super productive because like you'd normally have to, find these import-export vehicles like in the wild somewhere, and it's kind of inconsistent, like where can you find them? And so just in terms of timing myself and trying to beat my best time and look at my splits from previous times, previous runs, I just decided to consistently put those 4 rare vehicle things in inside of Taxi Driver in Portland. Okay, so here's one of my trips to the cartel gang territory, which is always dicey. But look, this is, I don't think it's a glitch. I think it's just programmed in that gang members who would normally be hostile to you can spawn as potential taxi passengers for drop-offs during Taxi Driver. And so I wasn't sure. I was torn between like picking this guy up like I did or just running over him with my vehicle. But I decided we were going to mend fences, and now I think me and the cartels have no problem. Me and the Colombian cartel, we're going to have no problems at all. We had a nice powwow, me and that guy. Okay. All right, so coming back to the wiki, here's a glitch I mentioned in the last video. It says if in GTA 3, if Claude is pulled out of a taxi by a pedestrian at the same time that a fare gets into a taxi, the fare pedestrian will stay seated in the back seat. The screen will say taxi mission ended, even if Claude immediately gets back into the car. The pedestrian, however, will never move from his seat unless the player activates another taxi mission, where the new fare will pull the pedestrian out of the back seat and get in. So I tried off video for like 10 minutes to get that to happen, and I never got it to happen. It was quite hard to time getting pulled out of the vehicle at the same time as the pedestrian gets in. So I don't know. Maybe if you find that this is possible, explain a little bit more, or techniques on how to do it, throw it in the comments if you have ideas. In GTA 3, it's possible to double the fares, so I demonstrated that glitch in the last video by doing taxi in a police car. It would also work in any other police vehicle. But the one big downside, I mean, it's a big upside, is it takes only half the time to do taxi, maybe even less to do taxi. But big downside is that you got the fake destinations, I think, on the map for the rest of the game, those kind of pink dots on the map. Okay, and then it says due to a glitch, the player can transport people around in any car besides the standard taxi or cabbie. So you can see me using that glitch here, doing all of taxi in the Banshee. And the reason that I chose the Banshee, it's kind of cheesy, right? Because like I try not to, like when I make these challenges up for this video series, I try to make things harder, not easier. And doing things in the Banshee are easier because the Banshee has a higher top speed, better handling, better acceleration. But the reason that I couldn't do what I wanted to do in a regular taxi or cabbie, and what I wanted to do was 100 drop-offs in a row, the reason I can't do that at this point in the game is that the taxi and the cabbie are not fast enough over that gap in the Callahan Bridge. Even when you use the cheat code, Chitty Chitty BB, the taxi or cabbie will fall a little bit short. It'll fly through the air to over the gap from the explosion, and it'll end up being a little bit short of getting onto the the bridge, the roadway on the other side of that gap. And so you just end up falling in the water. I couldn't make it. I tried many times and I couldn't make it. So I decided if I wanted to get 100, if that was my priority, then I would make taxi a little bit easier on myself by doing the whole thing in the Banshee. Life is about trade-offs, gang. What can I say? Coming back to this glitch that allowed me to do taxi in the Banshee or any other vehicle, the wiki says this glitch has been fixed in the iOS and Android versions of the game, as the side mission button, represented by a steering wheel, disappears when the player exits the taxi or cabbie. I see, so couldn't do the glitch there. We were, holding down a key on a keyboard. There's a glitch in some versions of GTA 3 that renders the missions playable, as pressing R3 will not start the side mission like it's supposed to. Most reports about the glitch are from the PS2 version, and it can also happen on the PS4 version. The cause of the glitch is unknown, but it's possible that using other vehicles via the Banshee glitch that we're doing here might have something to do with it. There's no known fix to this problem, and it might make reaching 100% in the affected save file impossible. Who knew? Okay, so I think that's about it from the wiki about Taxi Driver. And what are we up to here? 61, right. So then once we get to 66, we will have done 33 in Portland, 33. This particular blue marker, I think, is misplaced. Like it's not quite on the sidewalk. You have to kind of edge to the right of the sidewalk. It seems like it's maybe not quite in the right spot. I think it should be kind of more firmly centered on the sidewalk. Okay, so as we were saying, once we get to 66, we will have done 33 in Portland, 33 in Staunton, and then I'm planning on taking the same Banshee over to Shoreside Vale to see if I can do the remaining 34 and get that beautiful number 100 straight taxi drop-offs in the top right. Of course, you'll get, like a bigger cash bonus for getting all the way up to 100, but I didn't really care about that. I got plenty of cash in this save file. What I just wanted to see was that lovely 100. Okay, so that was 64. I mentioned that I was gonna look at the cash bonus thing, the every 5 cash bonus, and we looked when we dropped off our 35th passenger, we got 16 grand, and now we're about to drop off 65, and I've been paying no attention to the cash bonus thing. Maybe you've been writing down the data and you figured out the formula already. I don't know. What do we get here? 20, what does it say, 26,000? So that's exactly 10 grand more than we got. So like every 30 fares gave 10 grand. Dang, math is hard. I can't just do this on the fly. I don't know what the formula is. 16,000. No, sorry, we didn't get 16,000. We got 12,000 after 30 fares, and I had a hypothesis about 35 fares. So what I know, let's see, did I do 66? I did. Okay, so now I'm just headed over to the bridge, and I'll end this video real soon, and you'll check out Shoreside in the next video. But what I know is that on the 30th drop-off, we got 12 grand, and on the 65th drop-off, we got 26 grand. So what does that tell me? I don't know. Tells me I'm ready to end this video. I will have an answer for you at the start of the next video as we pick up taxi over in Shoreside Vale. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.